Hey, Andrew here from The Investor's Way, and welcome to Woody's Weekly Wisdom episode number 23. I'm looking all over the place. Sorry about that. I'm using a different screen to record today, so I'm actually going to be looking up at the story I'm sharing with you, which you can see, but my camera is a little bit lower. But anyway, forget about the logistics. I've tried so hard this week to avoid talking to you about interest rates and cost of living and inflation. And as much as I tried and tried and tried, I just couldn't quite avoid it completely. But I've gone a little left field and a little bit different so that we're not going to continue to bang on about interest rates. But enough to say that there's plenty out there, and there's some people saying we're guaranteed to see an interest rate rise here in Australia next week or next month. And there's another bunch of people out there to say, well, we need to hold steady until we see what's happening with the inflation data, which I believe is due out next week. So we might do something on next week's Weekly Wisdom about inflation if the data has come out and we see some interest in that data. So the article I'm looking at today is how fed up Aussies are saving faster to get off the rental treadmill. So I guess the headline suggests that renting is a bad thing, but well, um, I'm not so sure that is the case. But this article in particular is actually about first home buyers and some of the things that they can do and have been doing to get off the rental treadmill, if that's such a thing. And the reason why I guess I want to talk about this article and just highlight some of the things that this article talks about is that it's a topic that doesn't have to be specific to the times that we're in right now. To an extent, this article is blaming landlords for the rental crisis and the reason why first home buyers are desperately trying to save up a deposit so they can buy their own home. But in reality, is it really the fault of landlords that they're trying to meet their expenses when interest rates have gone up so rapidly all around the world? So when, we've seen it in so many places, when costs go up, there's a flow-on impact to the final product. So when it comes to renting a property, the one of the costs involved in owning that property obviously is a mortgage and the interest on that mortgage. And if the Reserve Bank in your country has put those rates up 12 or 13 times, you're going to have to pass some of that cost on. It's not greedy landlords. It's just the landlord having to meet their own cost of their investment. It's pretty straightforward. No different to when the price of bananas goes up because it's more expensive to produce the bananas. Yeah, simple, basic economics. So trying to blame greedy landlords for a rental crisis is literally just stupidity. But the good thing about this article that I wanted to highlight is that what it shows is that first home buyers are finding ways to cut back their spending. And if we were to focus on one of the core messages at the Investor's Way, it is to clearly have a lifestyle that you enjoy, but at the same time, that lifestyle must recognize that you are not going to be earning an income for the rest of time. So you should put some aside for your future self. And this is where a lot of people trip over themselves when it comes to the wealth equation. The simple fact is you will not be earning an income for the rest of time. You're not going to work or run a business for the rest of time. There is going to be a point in your journey where you want to take time for yourself. You want to retire, or you want to stop working or stop running your business for whatever reason. And you're going to need some funds to enjoy the lifestyle that you want and have designed. Now, the only way you can have designed that is if you've put some money aside for a period of time and put that money to work. So the exciting part about this is that we'll bypass this little section that's talking about don't use the bank of mum and dad, or I think they're also talking about the fact that there's lots of mums and dads, and rather than putting their hands in their pocket and giving their kids cash, they're letting them stay at home rent free for a period of time to save their money. So that's all good stuff. But further down in the article, what it highlights is that there's a large number of these first home buyers who are being more efficient in saving their deposits by cutting back on some of the unnecessary things. And I guess the message that I really want to take out of this article, and being consistent with why I'm doing these weekly wisdoms, is to look behind the story. And the thing about the behind the story today is that you don't have to be a first home buyer to be someone who has a look at their spending habits and their spending pattern and find ways to cut back or eliminate those things that are not adding anything to the enjoyment of life or the sustenance of your life. So I don't like the idea of creating this constriction on your lifestyle. But I know with a fair degree of confidence, after having seen hundreds of people's money planners, is that there are leaky boats. There's little leaks in people's boats where money is just dribbling out of your life onto stuff. And nobody gets wealthy by spending on stuff as such. This is things that are not necessary or not really adding to the enjoyment of your life. And you'll find that there's lots and lots of them. So what these first home buyers are doing is they're finding these items and they're plugging their leaks, and they're managing to save for their deposit at a much quicker rate. So here it's saying that a double income couple was saving $1,605 per month, could cut the time to save a 20% deposit by almost a year, and building a strong enough deposit in 4 years and 2 months, and down to just over 2 years for those that are looking at a 10% deposit. So, and as I said, the way they've done that is to examine how they're spending the money. And that's a lesson that, like I said, shouldn't be left to these times where interest rates are rising and inflation's rising, and it's forcing people to take a look. This is something that you can do when things are booming, or anytime. The idea is that we can find these leaks in the boat, plug them, and have more money set aside for our future self. And that's what we're all about, is saving up that money for our future self. So that's the end of the article there. But yeah, it's all about finding ways to get money working for you, more money working for you more frequently. And good on the first home buyers who are trying to get off the rental treadmill. Not at the expense of the landlord. It's not their fault that the rents are tough. The simple fact is that it's supply and demand, and prices are going up because interest rates are going up. That's that factor. But in this case, the good news that we're taking out of this article is people, in particular first home buyers in this article, but people generally, can find ways in their weekly spend to find additional cash that doesn't need to exit your life and can stay in your life and be put to work for you and secure your financial future. And that is the story behind the story in this week's Woody's Weekly Wisdom, coming from the headline that started out, how fed up Aussies are saving faster to get off the rental treadmill. And I suggest that if you're not investing on a monthly basis, then you become one of these fed up Aussies, or whether you're in Australia or you're elsewhere and you're watching this, become fed up and start saving faster or putting more of your hard-earned money into your investing strategy so that you also can get off the money stress treadmill, not necessarily the rental treadmill. It doesn't have to be. Plenty of people in the rental treadmill, myself included, who are loving it and putting their funds into other investments that are growing rapidly and doing really well, so that down the track, things are much, much brighter for all that are investing. So got a little bit sidetracked there. As I said, how fed up Aussies are saving faster to get off the rental treadmill. The story behind that story is that our first home buyers are finding ways to save their deposits far more quickly without having to rely on the bank of mum and dad, and by having a look at their own financial spending habits and putting more into their financial future. So in this case, it's for their first home. But if you're not a first home buyer, and the majority of my audience are not first home buyers, but they are looking for ways to put more of their money toward investing. And the best way to do that is to start looking at your spending habits and where that money that you're bringing in is going out of your life, and find ways to plug the leaks. And the best way to do that is to have a money plan. So if you're interested in having a money plan, reach out, let us know, and we'll put you in touch with some resources to help make that happen. If you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor and click on the subscribe button. That's probably down there. Up there somewhere is probably the bell to get notified when we release a video. And if you're watching on Facebook, do us a favor, share, like, comment, and that way more people, we feed the algorithm and more people will see these videos, and hopefully we can help more people have a better money outcome. And that's what we're all about. So there it is for this week. I did promise to stay a little bit away from the big topic that seems to be dominating these weekly wisdoms. And it looks like next week we'll be back at it because there'll be more data out, and we really want to see what that data is telling us about the way ahead. And just while I'm here, if you have been concerned about all the noise in the financial markets, just know that it is just noise. And these weekly wisdoms are designed to show you that it is just noise, and it doesn't have to prevent you from growing your wealth, managing your money well, and growing your wealth. And if you want help, make sure you reach out, and we'll do everything we can to give you the tools and resources to grow your wealth more effectively and efficiently. So that's it for Woody's Weekly Wisdom even, episode number 23. We'll see you again next week for another episode, and enjoy the next week. And let's hope that there's some good data coming out and we can have a good news story next week. Cheers for now.